Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhangsa Parivrajacharya Stotar Shatashri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya BBT Sansthapak Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, we would like to welcome everyone to our online class this Friday evening at the Vedic Cultural Center, Sammamish, in the state of Washington. And we are going to speak on the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, and specifically we are going to continue on narrating the pastimes in relation to Srila Srivas Thakur. So first we will chant the auspicious Mangala Charan to invoke the blessings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So all glories to Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All glories to Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the first expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All glories to Sri Advaita Chandra Prabhu, who is the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all glories to all the devotees of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu are now together in Navadvip. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has invited Nityananda Prabhu to be present during the kirtans at Srivas Angan, the walled courtyard of Srivas Thakur, which can accommodate hundreds of devotees. And these kirtans were talked about in the entire town of Navadvip. These to be able to participate in this kirtan, you needed to be specially invited. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very particular about it. So there were a lot of people in Navadvip who couldn't be present for these kirtans at Srivasangan. They did not have access to it, and it wasn't streamed online, so it wasn't available on the net. Obviously, I have to clarify, otherwise somebody can cut paste this and say that, look at the stupid sadhu, he does not know that there was no internet at that time. So that was just a joke. This is weird how you have to be careful, politically correct in today's times. Anyways, so a lot of people did not have access to this kirtan. There were hundreds of devotees who were there. They would be present for the kirtan. They were allowed to be there at Srivasangan. But Navadvip was a very populous town. Hundreds of thousands of people lived in Navadvip. So people from all over would come to Navadvip, and a lot of people who did not have access to this kirtan and who did not have the invite to this kirtan would, within their hearts, they would pray that one day, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they would be qualified enough to be able to see Lord Gauranga perform kirtan, or see Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityananda dance in kirtan. However, in this material world, there are always two sides to a coin. This world is the world of duality. So we, as intelligent beings, we have to accept the fact that there will be opposites in this world. There will be the two extremes of any understanding within our external, within the outside world, and similarly there would always be these two opposite extremes existing within our inner world too. This is how material nature is. Just as within our body we have so many different kinds of air that is circulating. According to the Yoga Sutras, we understand there are at least 10 kinds of principal and secondary airs that are there predominantly. So there is one air that is trying to keep us within the body, and there is another air that is trying to eject us out of the body. So there's this, and life means that the air that is keeping us within the body is stronger, and death means that the air that wants to eject us out of this body has become stronger. So the opposites always exist in this material world. In the Gita, Krishna calls it the world of dvandvas, or opposites. Heat, cold, up, down, light, darkness, name it. There's always an opposite to any existence, any existential thought. There is always an opposite, an extreme end to it. Good, bad, honor, dishonor, like, dislike. Facebook page, like, dislikes. They've kind of removed the dislike now. Thumbs up, thumbs down. So, from the regular perspective, we expect that there's going to be a lot of opposition also in Navadvip to the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his performance of Kirtan. And people need to have reasons, and they need to be able to justify those reasons why they oppose any thought process or any event, why they oppose that. So there was a crowd in Navadvip that was opposed to the fact that first, the Kirtan was being performed, and second, they were not having access to the Kirtan. So they became the detractors. They would kind of try and spread rumors and try and motivate people to go against Lord Gauranga. So only the weak-minded people, the people whose consciousness was distracted by negativity, would fall into this trap. And that was a sizable number too. And to justify their opposition to Lord Chaitanya, they would give a misrepresentation of the scriptures. Some of them would spread the rumor that the scriptures never say that there should be loud chanting of the holy names, or there should be loud kirtan. Why does one need to make a show of one's practice? Why cannot one practice in serenity? Be peaceful, be quiet, do kirtan. If you want to do kirtan, aloud, then do it at a very low volume so that it does not disturb anyone else. So they would justify it in so many ways. And some went to really weird, some offered really weird justification. Like the Supreme Lord, who is sleeping in the ocean of milk, would wake up and he would get very angry that he has been woken up from his sleep. An interesting concept of the Supreme Lord, as if the Supreme Lord is a relative of Kumbhakarna, who, if woken up before his destined time, would be angry. That is not who's the Supreme Lord. There is Kumbhakarna who does that, and the Supreme Lord is always eager to reciprocate with his devotees. However, they would justify all these various understandings by misrepresenting the scriptures. And a certain class of people would fall prey to it. So some of these people who were opposing it, because some of them felt really hurt that being such respectable people in society, they did not have access to this kirtan. It kind of, they felt that it reflected on their morality or their religiosity or their practices, and hence Some of these people, they formed a forum, and this forum approached the legal local authority. In those days, that authority, who would be the magistrate of the town, or who would be the legal administrative head of the town, was called the Qazi. The Qazi was a person who was very astute about administrative practices. At the same time, the Qazi would also have a deep understanding of the religious codes. And the Qazi, about 500 years ago, the honorific title of a Qazi would generally mean that the person was of the Muslim faith. So, would be a clergy of the Muslim faith who also was very good at administration. So that is the Qazi. So was a religious head and also an administrative head. So people would hear religious doctrines from this person, and at the same time this person also had a force, would also have a police force, or would have a force of administrative protection, people who were employed in that aspect, that would listen to him, that was under his jurisdiction. So the police was with him. In those days, they would simply be called as the soldiers. So he had an entire, maybe a platoon of soldiers, a battalion of soldiers with him that would help him maintain administrative law and order. So this platoon was stationed in the town of Navadvip, because Navadvip was a very prosperous town, and it was a center of commerce, education, economics, so on and so forth. So the news was brought to the Qazi, and there were some of the Muslim faith who were disturbed that people were making, or people were involved with kirtan, which seems as if they were propagating this kirtan. And there were others of the Hindu faith who were telling the Qazi that they should stop this charlatan practice. They were saying that they were opposed to such representation of the Hindu religion. So the Qazi, he issued orders that Sankirtan should be a private practice and it should not affect anyone's public space. He issued those orders that if you practice Sankirtan at home and the sound stays within your house, that is acceptable. But if any of your neighbors complain, an action would be taken against you. So he instituted those orders, and devotees would stay at home and they would do kirtan, except for this practice at Srivasa's house. At Srivas Angan, and because there were high walls, it was an open courtyard with high walls and one entrance which would be kept locked. They felt safe that they could practice. And most of the neighbors of Srivas Thakur were also very favorable. So devotees would come and they would do their kirtans, especially all-night kirtans at Srivas Angan, Srivas's courtyard. The Qazi would, time and again, he would take a tour of the city. Sometimes he would do it incognito, and sometimes he would do it in everyone's presence. One particular evening, as he was passing through the streets of Navadvip, and he was passing down the road on which Srivas Thakur's house was situated, he heard the loud kirtan of the holy names, people playing mridanga, people, with cymbals, the sound of cymbals, and excited kirtan. This wasn't a loud kirtan. This was a kirtan that certain local people were doing, having come to Srivasa's courtyard, and it was during the daytime. But just, it was a normal affair. However, the Qazi took offense at that. So he barged into Srivasa's courtyard along with his small troop of soldiers, and in an angry voice, he ordered everyone to stop the kirtan. So most of the devotees there, they were so shocked that they immediately, they just stood there with the kartals in their hand, the mridanga around their neck. And seeing them and seeing that there were about a dozen devotees, and the Qazi had now made it a point that he had entered the house, so he was motivated by a lot of this passion that was there. He felt that he must make an example of these devotees. So he walked up to one devotee and he took off the mridanga from around his neck and he threw it to the ground. All the devotees, their hearts simply cracked. The mridanga was broken. The mridanga is an expansion of Lord Nityananda. The Qazi threw down that mridanga. So the mridanga in Bengali is called as khola. So the khola was, it was lying there on the ground, broken. A clay drum, so it immediately cracked up. It was all broken. And then the Qazi, with his index finger pointing towards all the people, he said, I warn you. I warn you, this is my last warning. Today I'm just breaking this drum. But if I ever hear you all transgressing my orders or in transgression of the official orders, then I will come and I will destroy your house. I will send soldiers and they will destroy our house. They will punish you, they will capture you, they'll put you behind bars, and all of your property, your bank account and everything will be attached to the state. You lose all of your assets. And I may also order your religious conversion. So you will have to give up your religious practices because you've been converted now. Saying this, and Qazi feeling that he had made his point, he leaves that place. Now when the devotees, they saw the Qazi leave and whatever had happened settled down within their mind, the first thing they did was they ran to the house of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is like just a stone's throw distance from Srivas Thakur's house. And there they explained everything to Lord Gauranga. Lord Chaitanya heard that the mridanga, the khola, had been broken. Khola bhanga koila. The devotees, he came and specifically, this is how they began, narrating the incident that had happened at Srivas Thakur's courtyard. Khola bhanga koila. The Qazi broke the drum, the mridanga drum. He threw it to the ground and he disrespected and he broke the drum. Lord Chaitanya, he expressed his transcendental agitation and anger. He said, how dare he do that? And he immediately contacted all the leaders of the devotee community, and he said, spread the message around. No one can come and walk into somebody's house, even if that person is a very authoritative person. Nobody can do that, walk into the house and break the drum that represents Kirtan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and feel that the act is appropriate. So Lord Chaitanya, he called out to all the leaders and he told them, bring together the entire devotee community. Tell them that today evening we are all going to do Kirtan and loud Kirtan. Everyone should bring their mridangas if they have mridangas. Everyone should bring their kartals if they have their kartals. And people of all ages, right from children to adults, should be there to participate in the Kirtan. We are going to take this entire Kirtan procession from my house along the banks of the Ganga to the palace of the Qazi's house. And there we are going to ask the Qazi to take back these orders, because these prohibitive orders are draconian laws. We should be allowed to express our religious and devotional fervor for the Lord. Kirtan is all auspicious, and we will try and explain it to the Qazi. Let the Qazi have an experience of how auspicious Kirtan is. So we are going to perform Sankirtan, and we are going to do it in a very, very civilized way. People should come with mridangas, kartals, devotional instruments, and they should, in a very humble way, with complete faith in the Supreme Lord's protection, chant the holy names of the Lord gracefully and with a lot of compassion within their heart and a desire to seek the shelter of the Lord. In this mood, one has to perform this Kirtan. So Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, Murari Gupta, Chandrasekhar, Nandan Acharya, and other leaders of the society, they immediately accepted the proposal of Lord Chaitanya, and within a few hours, an entire procession was inspired to happen. A huge procession. Children, young adults, people in their old age, men, women alike, girls and boys, all of them came out of their houses at the appointed time. They came together as a group, and they all started walking towards Lord Gauranga's house. So from all directions, people in large numbers were walking toward Lord Chaitanya's house. And everyone was excited, and at the same time, everyone was maintaining the decor. Everyone was maintaining law and order. So in great excitement, they reached Lord Chaitanya's house. And the common people of Navadvip and the people of Navadvip who had a great desire to participate in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan, but who could not have access to it, they were super excited, because today they felt was the time, their time had come, that they could also participate in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan. So they were like really, really excited. Seeing the excitement of all the townsmen, the townspeople, the devotees, they spread out this message that please be peaceful, maintain the mood. The mood is that This is a peaceful Sankirtan that we are performing, and let us follow the norm. Let us follow whatever the state norm is or the city norms are. So thousands upon thousands of people gathered in the open space before Lord Chaitanya's house. People were there on the streets and across the streets and in open grounds, and they had come. Most of them had come with the cymbals, with the kartas. A few of them had mridangas. Some of them were already chanting Hare Krishna. They were all very excited. The children were dancing. They were all waiting for Lord Gauranga to come out and lead them. And as the Jai Shri Shri Radha Neela Madhava, and as the sun was setting, people poured out of their houses bringing out torches. Lord Chaitanya had also asked everyone to bring torches. The sun set. It was dusk. Lord Gauranga, he came out of his house along with Nityananda Prabhu. Srivas Thakur was already there, Advaita Acharya was already there, Ramay Pandit, Sri Rama Pandit, Sri Nadhi, Sri Pati, they were all there. Chandrasekhar Acharya was there, Nandan Acharya was there. Great devotees like Shuklambar Brahmachari were there. Murari was there. Sri Niketan was there. So many of the devotees were all there. Gadadhar Pandit was there. And hundreds upon thousands of the residents of Navadvip, they had all come with their torches. And there they saw Lord Gauranga. He looked so beautiful. He looked so resplendent. His form was like molten gold, and he was smiling, and with his beautiful lotus eyes, he was very, very mercifully glancing at all the devotees. Very, very mercifully, he was glancing at all the devotees. Lord Gauranga, he arranged the devotees in various groups. And he arranged for Advaita Acharya to lead one group. He arranged for Srivas Thakur to lead another group. He arranged for Gadadhar Pandit to lead another group. And then he looked at Lord Nityananda, and Lord Nityananda said, please, I'm just staying by your side. I'm not leaving your side at all. Then he assigned a few mridanga players for each group. He assigned a few kartal players for each group. He assigned lead singers for those groups. He assigned dancers for those groups. There was Haridas Thakur that was leading a group. Gadadhar was also staying by the side of Lord Chaitanya. And everyone was very excited. And then Lord Chaitanya, he gave the signal. And all the torches were lit. Thousands upon thousands of torches were lit, and the night sky was illuminated by the brilliance coming from the lights of these burning torches. The children were very excited. Lord Chaitanya, he came to the front of this procession. He had Lord Nityananda on one side and Gadadhar Pandit on the other side. And then Lord Chaitanya started leading the procession by dancing very gracefully. And the whole town of Navadvip that had been waiting and waiting and waiting to see Lord Gauranga dance, they saw this beautiful scene where Shri Shri Gaur Gadadhar Gauranitai, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Shri Nityananda Prabhu and Gadadhar Prabhu, they were dancing gracefully, and through their beautiful lotus-like mouths, they were chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, with their arms raised up, trying to touch the skies, and their legs beautifully dancing one in front of the other. The Sankirtan procession started. And when the townspeople, the people of the town of Navadvip, they saw the beautiful dance of Nityananda Prabhu, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Gadadhar Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur, but specifically Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, tears naturally flowed down their eyes. They felt this unlimited bliss in their hearts. Their hairs were standing on end. And they were feeling so blissful, so happy, so satisfied, just being there in the beautiful Sankirtan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Time passed, people did not even realize. They were just floating through the streets of Navadvip, and Lord Gauranga led them to the ghats along the banks of the river Ganga. And as the river Ganga flowed with serene beauty, this waves after waves of devotees performing Sankirtan walked along her banks. Hundreds upon thousands of glistening torches was reflected in the beautiful waters of the river Ganga. It seemed as if the spiritual world had descended in Navadvip. Everyone felt as if there was no pain, no malice, no anxiety, no fear. People were completely beyond the three modes and the effects of the three modes of material nature. Little children, adults, women, men, even the dogs of Navadvip were participating in the Sankirtan excitedly. Lord Chaitanya led them through various ghats, the Mahaprabhu Ghat or the Gauranga Ghat as we know it as today, Barakona Ghat, Nagariya Ghat, and from there he left the banks of the river Ganga and he walked through the town of Ganganagar, through the streets where more and more people joined the Sankirtan. And then he went into the town of Simulaya, which was where the Qazi lived. The roar of the Kirtan could be heard for miles and miles around. It pierced the night sky and reached into the celestial realms, where even the demigods, they felt blissful hearing the sound of the holy names of Krishna. The demigods, they all went online to watch this Kirtan. From behind the clouds and in the darkness, they all descended to have darshan of this beautiful Nagar Sankirtan. The first time in the entire history of creation, Lord Chaitanya had inaugurated Nagar Sankirtan. Lord Shiva, Indra, Varuna, the hordes of denizens of heaven and the demigods, they had just read about it, and today they were all a witness to this beautiful event. Once in the day, one day in the lifetime of Brahma does this event unfold. They reached the house of Qazi, but the Qazi already knew that they were coming there. He was having his spies go out and find if and where and what was happening. And they came back and they reported that everyone is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The Qazi looked at his spies, and he said, what happened to you? You're not supposed to say that. And they said, we are not saying that. And the Qazi would say, what are you not saying? I just heard you saying that. They said, no, we are not trying to say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And the Qazi said, stop. Don't tell me about that. I don't want to hear what you are saying. And they said, what are we saying? And the Qazi said, stop. I am your Qazi. You are my soldiers. They said, sorry, sir, but we are not really sure what we are saying. And he's saying, you are saying that which should not be said in my presence. They all kept quiet. They had no idea what they were saying. They were completely... It was as if they were not aware of their existence as humans, as these material bodies, even the spies, because the spies who had spied on the Sankirtan, they had been touched by this devotional atmosphere that they did not even realize that they were completely immersed. Their consciousness was immersed in the holy names. Despite their desire not to be doing it, it was just kripa, transcendental mercy. The hearts as spirit souls, their ignorance had been lifted for the moment, and their hearts was just attracted to these holy names. The Qazi said, stop. And a few other spies came and they said, sir, I think they are coming towards you. They are coming towards this place. And he said, why? Because the only direction in which the streets on which they are performing kirtan, it comes towards your house. Maybe they can take some other street. And they said, no, we heard. And what did you hear? We heard. And he said, don't repeat that. They said, no, what we heard is some of the people in the crowd, they were saying, down with the Qazi. The Qazi should be punished. We heard them and they were really very angry. And the Qazi said, what? How dare they? And they said, sir, they are in hundreds and thousands. And he's like, oh, really? What should I do now? And some of them said, you should just run away, hide, flee. And the Qazi said, yes, I should do that. But then they said, you cannot do that. And he said, why? Because they are coming from all directions. All the streets that lead towards their house have the people of the town performing kirtan, and they are heading towards their house. And the biggest group of devotees is being led by the son of Jagannath Mishra, Nimai Pandit. Oh, the Qazi was really fearful. Meanwhile, Lord Gauranga, he comes along with this huge crowd, this huge procession to the gates of the Qazi's house. And the Qazi, because he is the Qazi, he is the district magistrate, he is the administrative head, so he has a huge property, that's how. It's like the governor's house, huge property. So the walls of his property are really, they extend some distance, so people can really gather in front of that. An entire crowd had surrounded his entire property, his house. And Lord Gauranga, he roared like a lion. Gaura Simha, Lord Chaitanya, was ferocious as a lion to protect his devotees, to protect the Sankirtan mission. Lord Gaura Simha, he roared. He said, where is the Qazi? He has broken the drum. He has tried to stop the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. The Supreme Lord and the names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are all powerful, and there is none that can ever stop the mercy of the holy names of the Lord from reaching out to all living entities. Anyone who is antagonistic to the holy names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is an offender to the holy names, and one who is an offender to the holy names should be punished. Today the Qazi will be punished. Where is the Qazi? And when the Qazi heard that roar, which pierced through the walls, and it traveled all the distance through his courtyard, into his house, into the room where he was trying to hide. The Qazi was scared, like he has never been scared. He was scared for his life. Some of the local people, some of the gentle people of the town, devotees, when they saw Lord Gauranga and this ferocious mood, they approached the Lord and they said, "My dear Lord, please be peaceful, please be peaceful. You are the Supreme Lord whose mercy, it permeates every atom of this creation. My dear Lord, as the merciful Lord of one and all, you are also the Lord of the offenders. So please be peaceful and give shelter to one and all." When the Lord heard this, he became quiet. When the sound subsided and he asked the devotees to do kirtan, and the kirtan there was a tremendous kirtan going on. When the Qazi did not any longer hear the roar of Lord Gauranga, he called for some of his spies and he says, "Please go and see if they're getting tired and if some of them are leaving." So some of the spies went out and they started to mingle amongst those people. But they, because their facial features, some of them had beard, it would immediately make them stand out. So they put cloth around their face to come and mingle with the crowd and find out what was their motivations at this point of time. Some of the people who had the cloth covering their faces, the cloth caught fire. And as the cloth caught fire, they were so scared that the only thing they could do was repeat the sound that was all around them. They started chanting Hare Krishna. And some of them, just to be a part of the crowd, they decided to imitate what the crowd was doing. So they looked around them and they saw all these devotees around them, and the devotees were looking at the spies. They did not know they were spies. They were looking at them, and the devotees were going, "Hari Bol, Hari Bol," and they would go, "Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna." And slowly the spies were chanting Hare Krishna, and because they were surrounded by all this enthusiasm, somehow they felt this enthusiasm permeate their own heart and their consciousness, and they became so excited chanting Hare Krishna, the tears of love of God had started flowing down their eyes. The spies were crying tears of love of Godhead. They were like, "Oh Krishna, oh Krishna, oh Krishna." And all the devotees who were around them, they were excited. "Yes, Krishna, where are you? Krishna, please give us shelter." And they're like, "Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna." Their tears, and they were shivering with these symptoms of devotional experiences. And then they remembered that we are spies. But they were shivering and they were crying, and they went back to report to the Qazi, and the Qazi looked at them and he said, "What's happening to you?" And they're like, "Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, where are you? Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare." And the Qazi said, "I am lost. I have no hope. My own people, I don't even know them now." And some other spies, they came and they said, "We were there and we were trying to just merge with everyone. Then our cloth suddenly caught on fire. And then we said Hare Krishna, and just as we started chanting Hare Krishna, the fire subsided. It just disappeared. And then we felt, all right, now the fire, maybe it was just by some fluke." So we again tried to mingle and find out what was happening in the crowd. And again a cloth caught fire. And other spies came in and they said, "Well, their cloth caught fire, our beards caught fire. Our beards were on fire." And then we said, "Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna." And the fire just subsided. So we realized if we want to be safe, we just have to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And they told the Qazi, "My dear sir, if you want to feel safe, you should also do this." And the Qazi said, No, go away, go away." And then Lord Gauranga, he called out for the Qazi, "Where are you, sir?" And he said, "My God, now he's calling me sir. What does that mean?" He started, He was crouching in some dark corner of his house, hoping against hope that he would not be found. Lord Gauranga entered the palace, his courtyard, and he said, "Please don't be afraid. We just want to have some civil talk." And the Qazi realized, if I don't do anything, they are going to enter my house. It is better that I walk out and present myself. So he walked out of the doors of his house, and as soon as he saw Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he said, "Oh Nimai, oh Nimai, oh, I've been waiting to meet you. It's been such a long time. Actually, since I was small, I grew up here, you know that? You were not even, this was much before your birth. How can you know that? When I was small, I would be playing around in the village, in this town. And so many times I met your grandfather, your mother's father, Nilambar Chakravarti. Oh, he was such a gentleman. He was so much respected by all of us, whether Hindus or Muslims or people of various designations. They all had so much respect for him. And he has so much love for me. Whenever he would see me, he would say, "Champak, Champak, come here." Did you know that was my nickname, Champak? He would call unto me. And I would run up to him. And I really loved him. He considered me to be his very own son. And from that perspective, your mother is my sister. And you are my nephew. You are my bhanja. I'm your mama. And Lord Chaitanya said, "That is true. You are my uncle, you are my mama. So why don't Mama Bhanja sit down and have a talk? It's been a long time. I've never ever had this opportunity to sit down with my mama, with my uncle, and have a talk." And the Qazi said, yes, Mama Bhanja talk. I like the idea about that. Please come inside. And he and Lord Gauranga sat down. And Lord Gauranga started off by saying that, why is it that people from those who have your beliefs, why is that they kill the cow and drink her blood? Who does that? Before Lord Chaitanya said that, he said, you know, the mother, she offers the milk of her own body to the child. She doesn't even want that milk for herself. It is only for the child. The milk is a transformation of the very essence of her life, her blood. So she sacrifices her blood. She, because of her motherly affection, transforms it into milk. And this milk, she offers every bit of that milk, every drop of that milk. Till the time her breasts go dry, she offers all of that milk to her child. This is the kind of sacrifice a mother does. And when the child who has drunk the milk of his mother's body grows up and slits her throat and drinks her blood, what kind of behavior is that? Why would someone do that gruesome task? And the Qazi said, I completely agree with you. And then Lord Chaitanya said that we grow up drinking the milk of the cow. She does not drink any of that milk herself. She offers all of that to us. As humans, we receive her milk. And she gives that to us with love. Why is it that some people of your faith and belief, they slit the throat of the cow and drink her milk? The Qazi said, actually, these people who do that, they misrepresent their belief and their faith. Nowhere in a religious text it has been mentioned that one should murder a cow and drink her blood. So it is not essential at all. We should just accept the milk from the cow and respect her. And the Lord Chaitanya said, and there are other things that we need to discuss. And he said, yes, I would need to discuss to you. You're Nimai Pandit, you're a scholar, I am a Qazi, I'm a scholar, so let's have a discussion. And after some time, after a few hours of discussion, the Qazi said, actually, I have to admit that for the most part, many of the essential truths that have been explained to me as a Qazi, as a person of good scholarship in my faith, many of those essential truths have been explained in a very generic manner. They haven't been explained in as much detail. They haven't been explained in specific details. They haven't been explained in totality. But today when I hear from you, I realize that the explanations that you are offering is in complete totality. It is complete. There's nothing beyond it. And today I feel that I have been nourished by this knowledge transmission. So Lord Gauranga said, that is very good. And then the Qazi said, now I'm feeling a little comfortable with you and I want to reveal something unto you. Lord Gauranga, he smiled and he said, please do so. He said, yesterday night I had a very, very interesting dream. And Lord Gauranga said, oh, what was in your dream? He said, after I had broken that mridanga and I came back home and I slept. Oh, that means I have to kind of admit that in the beginning of my narration, I said that the mridanga had been broken during the day and at night. So this was maybe the next day that Lord Chaitanya said that we should have the Sankirtan because the Qazi needed to have this dream. So there was a night in between. One night passed. He said, after I had broken the mridanga, I was feeling very uneasy. So I thought that maybe it was just some kind of flu, stomach virus maybe. Maybe I was just a little tired. So I came back and I decided to take some rest. I took a light dinner and I went off to bed early, and then I had this intense dream. This very intense personality who had the body of a human and the head of a lion with long nails and fangs in his mouth, pointed teeth in his mouth, the pointed teeth of a lion and the nails, the claws of a lion on his fingers. He jumped upon me and he sat on my chest and I couldn't breathe. I looked at him with open eyes. I was so fearful. His eyes were like molten lead, molten iron. They were red hot. And his mane, it seems that there was these these rays of fire, springing from them. And he said in this thunderous voice, how dare you? How dare you stop the chanting of my holy names? How dare you stop the Sankirtan? How dare you break the mridanga? You fiend, you nonsense. And then in great anger, with his claws, he ripped open my shirt and dug into my chest. And he said, I will rip open your chest, I will rip open your heart, and I will take away your life. How can you be so offensive to the chanting of my holy names? However, every person who makes a mistake must be given a second chance. Therefore, I give you the second chance. If you ever perform such an act again, I will be back. And then you know what is going to happen. And Lord Narasimhadev said something like this in maybe Hindi. ये तो अभी ट्रेलर है, पूरी पिक्चर बाकी है. This is just a trailer. If you want to see the entire movie, and I suggest you don't want to do that, stop. Never ever go against the Sankirtan of my holy names. And I said, yes, please, no, I'll never do that. Please, go away. Yes, I will follow your orders. Yes, no, please. And he disappeared. And I could breathe again. I got up from my sleep. It was dark. I called out for my guards. They came running in. They lit a torch. And then in the light of the torch, I saw that my shirt was ripped to shreds. And I looked at my chest and I could see the dark red marks of where his nails had dug into my skin. And in great excitement, as if to prove his point, he immediately opened up his shirt and he said, "You can also see Nimai." And Lord Gauranga simply smiled, for his chest still had the nail imprints of Lord Narasimhadev. Lord Gauranga said, "I think Lord Narasimhadev paid you a visit." And the Qazi said, "Yes." And he left his visiting card right here on my chest. The Qazi said, "I vow I will never ever oppose this chanting of the beautiful transcendental holy names of the Lord." Lord Gauranga said, "That is a very good decision that you have taken in your life." And the Qazi said, "Well, yesterday I had this experience, this dream, which was actually a real experience, because here are the nail marks. But I had decided I would never reveal this to anyone because people would think that I'm crazy. But somehow in your presence, I felt I should reveal this. In fact, in your presence, I feel that I'm safe. In fact, in your presence, I feel so closely connected to you. I feel that the same Supreme Lord who is referred to as Narayan in your scriptures, I feel that you are the Supreme Lord Narayan himself." And saying that, the Qazi fell at his lotus feet and he said, "Please give me shelter." And Lord Gauranga accepted him. He picked him up and he embraced him and he said, "Well, actually, we are just Mama Bhanja. You're my uncle. I'm your nephew. That is our relationship." And the Qazi, and he said, please keep your word. Please never stop the chanting of the holy names of Krishna." And the Qazi said, "Not just me, but all of my descendants. I passed this order to all my descendants that they should support the Sankirtan mission of yours, and if any one of them offends the devotees who are chanting the holy names, or if he or she tries to stop the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, I denounce them. They will be bereft of my family name, and they will be bereft of all that comes along with my family name, of their family rights. I throw them out of my family." And personally, as a Qazi of the town of Navadvip, today itself I pass the order that no one shall interfere with the Nagar Sankirtan of the holy names of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it all began at Srivas Thakur's courtyard, Srivas Angan. This place is till today also known as, another name for Srivas Angan is Khola Bhanga Danga, the place where the Mridanga was broken. Just to remind us of how protective the Lord is about his devotees, to reassure us that the Lord does take care of his devotees, and to give us the confidence that having accepted the shelter of the Lord, one should be reassured that there is no need to seek shelter anywhere else. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam praja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshishyan ma suchaha Do not fear, Masucha, says Krishna. So tomorrow we'll be back with a few other pastimes in relationship to Srivas Thakur from Chaitanya Leela. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, we can take a few questions or reflections. Any questions from these the wonderful audience that is present here? Or any questions online? So Namavrata Prabhu would be able to pass it on to me. Or any suggestions or reflections?
We hear about so many pastimes from the Chaitanya Leela. We hear about the pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam, Why is that after hearing all this thing also, when we are in class, it keeps everything fine, but the moment we goes out, those belief and those faith also walks away. Like, is it our impurities or is it our lack of faith? What is that?
The question is that we hear of these beautiful pastimes from the Chaitanya Leela, Chaitanya Charitamrita, from Krishna Leela in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and other pastimes of the various incarnations of the Lord. When we hear them or when we are present during the class, we are completely involved in it. But as soon as the class gets over and we leave the place and we go back to whatever else we do in this world, how is it that the mood changes? Suddenly we find ourselves involved with so many other things. How is that? So that is a question. The answer is we have the switch with us, the on-off switch. When we on the switch, that means now we want to, it's like it allows us, it is a portal to a world where we want to be completely immersed in spiritual topics. And when we off the switch, it means we take the way out of that portal, come back. So we have that switch with us. And whenever we come to class, whenever we kind of sit down to hear, whenever we take out time to involve ourselves with direct practices of Krishna consciousness or devotional service, we turn on that switch. And when we feel that the time has come that we have to kind of put an end to the direct practices of Krishna consciousness, as there are other things that need to be taken care of, we put off that switch. Because for us to be able to focus on Krishna consciousness, we need to put away all of those other things that happen in this material world. That is the only way we can function. And when we go back to all the other responsibilities or activities or distractions in this material world, then to focus on that, we kind of have to be away from this experience. That is how we, that is our state of existence right now. This is called as material consciousness. Material consciousness is the state of existence where sometimes we try to be Krishna conscious. There are other people who don't want to be Krishna conscious, so they are in complete material consciousness. Here, we are trying to be Krishna conscious occasionally in our life of material consciousness. And it is helpful as we kind of do that a little more, slowly include more and more elements that takes away time from being involved in the material world. We find that our affinity towards spiritual activities increases. That is the way to make progress. Otherwise, why would we speak of what is spiritual progress? So that is how we make progress. Day after day or moment after moment, as we increase the time between on and off, as that time frame goes on increasing and increasing, we make more and more progress. Whereas when a person is in spiritual consciousness, that person has the art to even interact with the material world and not be materially conscious about it. That art is called as dovetailing everything in Krishna's service. So sometimes when we are with great personalities who are able to do that, then it rubs off on us too for the moment. And we see that we can also dovetail things in Krishna's service. So we are in the process of purification, and that is what we should be focused on. We should be focused on how we can purify ourselves. And since it is a process of purification, there is some time involved. It will take some time for us to be purified. We have to be patient with ourselves as we are doing that, and we have to be confident of our spiritual practices that we are performing. So we have to be patient, that is dhairya, and we have to be confident with, or we have to be enthusiastic. Nishchayat, confident. Nishchayat, dhairyat. Rupa Goswami mentions that, right? Utsahat, nishchayat, dhairyat, tat karma pravartanat. Tat karma pravartanat. Slowly accepting those activities that transforms our existence from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. It transforms that. It is like alchemy. Transformation of Paras into Swarna, mercury into gold. That is what we are trying to do here, an alchemical process. So we have to be patient, and we have to be confident and enthusiastic, whatever time it takes. From the perspective of eternity, this is just one small bubble in the ocean of eternal time. That's one human form of life. So associating with people whose existence is spiritual. An association is of two types. One is physical association, and there is the other association, that is physical association, is called as Vapu association, and there is Vani association. Can I ask you a very simple yet materialistic question? Did you ever like some of the Bollywood songs growing up in India? Because I think you grew up in India.
Love it.
You love Bollywood songs, right? Some of those songs like Rafi Sahab, Kishore Sahab, when you used to hear them, how you would be lost in them. Vani. See how Vani affects us, isn't it? Previously, before Bollywood was there would be Ram Leela. People would kind of see those Ram Leela performances and get affected by that. Indrajit, and people would get into that more. Indrajit, Meghanath. But then came Bollywood, and that form of Vani used to affect people. So anyways, Vani is effective. So two kinds of association. Spiritual personalities whose existence is very spiritual, they have a legacy. When they are present, they establish a legacy, and when they are not present, they leave behind that legacy. And that legacy is available to us. That is called as association. Association is a legacy of great personalities. So they knew the art of dovetailing everything in Krishna's service. So they would also be involved with the material world. They would interact in ways that could be called as materialistic activities. However, they were in spiritual consciousness. So they were people who were in spiritual consciousness performing material activities, and there are people who are in materialistic consciousness with absolutely no spiritual activities, or maybe sometimes they just do it because ritualistic. And there is a class that is trying to migrate from one extreme to the other extreme, from being in materialistic consciousness to being transformed into having a life of spiritual existence and consciousness. And these people who are on this journey, we find ourselves living a life of materialistic consciousness with elements of spiritual practices. We have elements of spiritual practices. And we are different from those who are materialistic people doing ritualistic practices. We are different from them. What is the difference? Their ritualistic practices is a very, very long and undefined process of transformation. Whereas our process of trying to have moments of spiritual activities is a very specific and well-defined process of transformation. It is very specific and well-defined. It is very effective. Yes. It is this particular ailment is well researched into, and there is a treatment and vaccine for it. And for those of us who are in this situation, we are taking the medicine and we have vaccinated ourselves against the existence of material consciousness. It is now just a matter of time and hanging on. As Prabhupada, he would give the example, green mango connected to the tree will ripen one day. Just because it is connected to the tree. So if we just stay connected, knowing ourselves to be a mango that will ripen up one day. So one day we'll find the transformation having happened. We will find ourselves as living beings with spiritual consciousness that can engage with the material world too. Brahmaya dhaya karmani sangam tektva karotiya lipyate sacha papena. What is that? Padma patram ivambasi. Like a lotus flowers, a person in such consciousness, brahmanya dhaya karmani, in spiritual consciousness, connected with Krishna, sangam tektva karotiya, when comes in touch with the material realm, lipyate sacha papena, although is in touch with the material world, is untouched, just as Padma Patram Ivambas, just as a lotus flower is untouched by water, although it is in water. Is it all right? So let us just go on chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, and hearing about the wonderful pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead day after day after day after day. So can we stop here? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinde ki jai, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.